Stop doing this. Seriously, stop. You're killing your potted fruit trees and you don't even know it. I say that with love because I've done it too. The watering, the fertilizing, the cozy pot in the corner, it feels right. But what if I told you some of the things you're doing with the best intentions are actually destroying the very trees you've worked so hard to raise? I've watched trees. I adored trees. I waited years to see fruit fade away under my care, not from neglect, but from misguided love. And it's time we talk about the truth that most gardeners never do. Welcome to the Golden Years Lifestyle Hub, where mature gardeners from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada come together to grow not just gardens, but wisdom. If you've ever looked at your tree and wondered, why is it struggling when I'm doing everything right? This video is for you. Because today, I'm sharing the 10 biggest mistakes we make with potted fruit trees. And no, they're not little things. They're garden-ending, heartbreaking mistakes. The worst part? We've all made them, and most of us don't even realize it until it's too late. I want to ask you something, really ask you. What's the one mistake you made in your garden that still haunts you? The one that kept you up, staring at brown leaves or a wilted stem, wondering what went wrong? Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and you never know, your story might be the one that saves someone else's tree. We're not here to pretend we're perfect. We're here to learn, to grow, and to heal together. And if no one's told you this yet, gardening isn't about doing everything right. It's about trying, failing, and coming back stronger with every season. Now, stay with me until the end, because number 8, that one's personal. That one cut me to the core. It's the kind of mistake that sneaks up after years of growth and wipes everything out in one go. I still carry the regret from that. But you won't have to not if you keep watching. This video could be the difference between another failed season and your best harvest yet. And if you care about your trees, really care, then you owe it to them and to yourself to stay informed. So, before we dig in, do one thing. Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That's your ticket to the latest gardening wisdom, tips, and trends that actually work, tailored for gardeners just like you. Don't just watch, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience matters, your voice matters, and you never know who might need to hear your story today. We're a community, and that means we grow together. Number 1, overwatering. I'll never forget the sound of the leaves. They weren't falling gently, they were dropping like heartbreak. My potted apple tree, one I'd raised from a sapling right here in Ohio, had started yellowing. I thought I was doing everything right. I checked on it daily, gave it water every morning without fail, like clockwork. I was loving it the way I thought it needed. But one day, I stuck my hand down into the soil and pulled up what felt like wet cement and a smell I'll never forget: rot. I had drowned my tree with my own 2 hands. Here's the hard truth. More trees in pots die from too much water than from not enough. It doesn't matter how fancy your container is or how rich your soil feels, if the roots can't breathe, they die. When you water too often, the soil stays soggy and the oxygen your roots desperately need gets pushed out. That's when root rot creeps in silently until the damage is done. And the saddest part? You often don't see the signs until it's too late, but it's preventable completely. You just need to know what to look for and what to change. The fix is simpler than you think. Always use a free-draining potting mix. Skip the heavy stuff. Stick your finger into the soil before watering. If it's moist below the surface, don't water yet. Use pots with multiple drainage holes and never let them sit in a saucer of standing water. Treat watering like a conversation, not a routine. Your tree will tell you when it's thirsty if you're listening. Don't let your good intentions be what kills your harvest. I've been there, and it still hurts, but you can stop it right now. Number 2, wrong pot size. Years ago, I gave my mother a young dwarf peach tree for her birthday. She lives in New Jersey, loves her patio garden, and was thrilled. She wanted to give it room to grow, so she dropped it into the largest decorative planter she could find, a pot big enough for a small bush. It looked beautiful, but by the end of the summer, the leaves were limp, and the soil stayed wet for days after watering. That tree, full of promise, never made it to its second year. She had no idea the pot itself had sealed its fate. Too big, and the soil stays soggy, suffocating young roots. Too small, and the roots hit a wall, circle, and strangle themselves. Pot size isn't about aesthetics, it's about balance. A container should be just a few inches wider than the root ball, giving your tree enough room to expand without creating a swamp. As the tree grows, upgrade slowly. Don't leap from a nursery pot to a wine barrel in one go. The soil volume should match the root system's capacity to absorb moisture, or you'll end up with rot or stunted growth. If you've already made this mistake, don't panic. Repotting is your lifeline. Gently remove the tree, shake off the excess soil, and place it into a container that fits its size, not your dream garden's. You're not restricting it, you're protecting it, giving it the safe space it needs to thrive. And believe me, once you get this right, you'll see the difference in every leaf. Number 3. Poor drainage. I once found the perfect pot at a garden show in Kentucky. Hand-painted, heavy ceramic, beautiful enough to be a centerpiece. I brought it home, dropped in my young plum tree, and thought I'd nailed it. It took me 2 months to realize the disaster I'd created. The single drainage hole at the bottom was blocked by compacted soil, and water had been pooling for weeks. When I finally pulled the tree out, the bottom was black, soggy, and smelled like death. That stunning pot had become a silent grave. Poor drainage is a slow, quiet killer. You won't always see it coming until it's too late. Even if your watering habits are perfect, if the water has nowhere to go, your roots are drowning in the dark. The fix? First, always ensure your pot has multiple drainage holes, not one many. Elevate it slightly off the ground using bricks or pot feet to keep air circulating. Use a loose, airy mix with perlite or bark to keep soil from clogging, and skip the rocks at the bottom. Myth: they do not help. They create a false water table that traps moisture right where roots live. If you're unsure whether your drainage is working, test it. Pour water in slowly. If it doesn't flow freely out the bottom within seconds, your tree's in trouble. Don't let a pretty pot cost you a year's worth of growth. Drainage isn't optional, it's life or death for your tree. Number 4. Using garden soil in containers. I used to think soil was just soil. Dirt is dirt, right? I remember scooping rich, dark earth from my backyard here in Ohio, earthworms and all, and planting a baby lemon tree in a pot with it. It looked like the healthiest stuff I'd ever seen. I thought I was giving that tree the best start possible. But within weeks, the leaves dulled, the water wouldn't drain, and the tree just stopped growing. What I didn't realize back then was that garden soil, no matter how beautiful, becomes a brick in containers. Garden soil is meant for open ground, where earthworms, microbes, and drainage systems keep everything balanced. In containers, it compacts fast, cuts off airflow, and holds water too long. Roots need space. They need oxygen. They need a mix that's light and full of life. That's why potting mix exists. The fix? Always choose a high-quality potting mix formulated for containers, or make your own with compost, coco coir, and perlite or pumice. It's about structure, not just nutrients. Replanting is your second chance. Gently remove the compacted mess, trim back damaged roots, and start fresh. Give your tree a mix it can breathe in, and you'll watch it come back to life. Don't bury your tree in love without understanding. Use the right soil. And you're not just planting a tree, you're planting hope. Number 6. Feeding the wrong fertilizer. A few years back, I was obsessed with making my container-grown pear tree look picture perfect. Every week, I sprinkled on the green stuff, the same lawn fertilizer I used on the grass. The tree shot up like a weed. Lush, green, beautiful. But not a single flower, not a single fruit, just leaves. It took me a full year to understand what I'd done. I'd fed it like grass, and it responded like grass growing wildly, but giving me nothing back. I had starved it of what it really needed, while drowning it in what it didn't. Fertilizer isn't just food, it's information. It tells your tree what to do. High nitrogen equals leaves. But fruit trees and pots need balance. Nitrogen for growth, phosphorus for flowers, potassium for fruit. You need a blend like 4-6-4 or 5-5-5 organic if possible, and always formulated for fruit trees. And timing matters. Feed in early spring as new growth starts, and again mid-season. Skip late-season feeding, it just encourages soft, weak growth that winter will destroy. And always water before and after fertilizing to protect those tender roots. If you've been using the wrong stuff, stop today. Flush the soil with water. Start fresh next season with the right nutrients. Your tree doesn't need to look like a jungle. It needs to produce what you planted it for. Because gardening isn't just about beauty, it's about yield. And when you get this balance right, you'll finally taste the fruit of your love. Number 7. No winter prep. There's a potted fig tree I had 4 years old, full of life. I called it Hope because it had survived some rough winters here in Ohio. But one November, life got busy. I forgot to move it in before the first frost. Just one night, I told myself. It'll be fine. But it wasn't. That night hit 28 degrees, and the next morning, the branches were blackened. I tried everything, pruning, wrapping, warm water, but it never woke up. That tree had survived storms and setbacks, but one forgotten night was all it took to lose her. Potted trees are vulnerable. Unlike in-ground trees, their roots don't have the earth's insulation. They're exposed like hands left out in a blizzard. You must act before the first frost. Move your pots to a sheltered space, a garage, greenhouse, or even a sunny shed. If moving isn't possible, wrap the pots in burlap or bubble wrap. Mulch the top heavily. Use frost cloth for young trees. And remember, dry roots are dead roots. Keep the soil slightly moist, even in winter, to prevent desiccation. Winter doesn't sneak in, it announces itself. The mistake is thinking we have more time. Don't let a year's worth of nurturing vanish in a single cold snap. Prepare early. Because your tree depends on you to see the danger coming and protect it when it can't protect itself. Number 8. Planting too deep. This one still haunts me. I had just bought a gorgeous grafted cherry tree from a nursery in Vermont. I was so excited I planted it that same afternoon, deep, secure, and tucked in like I was tucking in a child. I thought I was protecting it, but within a year, the bark near the base turned black. It started oozing, the leaves wilted mid-season, and no matter what I did, it kept declining. That's when someone asked me, "Can you still see the graft union?" My stomach dropped. I had buried it. That tree never had a chance. When you plant a fruit tree too deep, especially in a container, you suffocate the part of the tree that's meant to breathe. The graft union should always sit above the soil line, exposed to light and air. Burying it invites rot, pests, and sometimes worse, it can cause the rootstock to take over, changing your tree completely. And here's what most people don't realize. Even if the tree survives, its energy gets stolen by the buried base, and the fruit quality suffers. The fix? Gently lift the tree. Shake off the excess soil and reset it at the right depth. Make sure the root flare is visible and proud like it's meant to be. If you take nothing else from this video, remember this. Don't bury your tree's identity. Don't smother its foundation. A deeply planted tree may look stable, but it's quietly dying. Let it breathe. Let it rise. Number 8 isn't just technical, it's emotional. Because when we bury the part of the tree that holds its true self, we bury its future too. Number 9. No pest monitoring. Last summer, my container fig tree was a vision lush, heavy with fruit, and the centerpiece of my backyard in Ohio. I'd sit by it every morning, sipping coffee, admiring its leaves. But then, I started noticing little white specks. A few curled leaves. I brushed it off too busy, too confident. 2 weeks later, I turned one leaf over and nearly dropped the cup in my hand. Aphids, spider mites, a full-blown infestation. They'd been building quietly, under the surface. By the time I acted, it was too late. My harvest was ruined. Potted trees may be isolated from the ground, but not from nature. Insects, fungal spores, and disease love the cozy microclimate of containers. Weekly pest checks are not optional. Flip the leaves. Look for residue, webs, spots, or chew marks. Keep neem oil, insecticidal soap, or diatomaceous earth on hand and use them at the first sign. And don't forget the underside's pests hide where you don't look. Prevention is your strongest weapon. The earlier you catch it, the easier the fix. Losing a tree to pests feels like betrayal because it happens quietly, under your watch. But it's not about shame, it's about awareness. About remembering that every living thing in your garden needs your eyes as much as your hands. Don't assume silence means safety. Check your trees. They're counting on you to notice. Number 10. Misjudging sunlight. This one stings. I once had a young citrus tree in a beautiful blue ceramic pot. My pride and joy. I kept it on the porch, thinking it got enough light. It was safe there. Protected. It looked fine at first, but the fruit was small, the growth slowed. Leaves curled in on themselves like they were folding away from the world. It wasn't dying, but it wasn't living either. When I moved it to full sun, the change was dramatic. It bloomed like it had been holding its breath for years. Fruit trees in containers need direct, unfiltered sunlight for at least 6-8 hours a day, not dappled shade, not bright light. Sunday, without it, they can't photosynthesize properly. They struggle to flower, and fruiting becomes a fantasy. The fix? Watch your space. Track the sun across your yard or patio. Use a compass app if you have to. South and west-facing spots are gold. And if you're short on space, consider wheeled pot bases so you can chase the light all season long. We often hide our trees in safe spots, thinking we're protecting them from harsh elements. But what they really need is exposure, bold, brave light. Don't let your tree live in a shadow out of fear. Give it the sun it's been aching for, because every leaf is a little solar panel. And without sunlight, it's not just your tree that suffers, it's your harvest, your joy, your entire reason for growing. Which of these mistakes have you made? Be honest, drop it in the comments. There's no judgment here, only growth. Your story might be the one that saves someone else's tree. And if this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss another truth that could save your garden. Like this video and share it with a fellow gardener who needs this message. We're in this together, for our trees, for our peace, for the gardens that heal us. Let's get it right one mistake at a time.